Hey, I'm Miguel Arati back with Piatt Picks, and that's Anthony Scott Piatt. And no, we are not down and out. We are back up on our feed here. It's been a couple of weeks, and we have been light on videos. Have been both dealing with some situations outside of the game here, but we're back in the game this week. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, doing great. Yeah, there wasn't much boxing last week either. There was an early card that was over by 5 p.m. Eastern time for those of you watching on that schedule, and there really wasn't no Saturday night boxing for the first time in a long time. So it is what it is. We roll with it, but we're back. Oleksandr Usyk versus Daniel Dubois coming up. Good fight there. And we'll get into that one. Jared Big Baby Anderson, and we're gonna look at a pick of the week with Zhan Kossobutskiy fight versus Fa Ajagba. When we were preparing for this, there were only 5 fights available on FanDuel, and as we went to tape, there may have been some more pop up. So we're gonna look at that and maybe put together an 8-leg parlay for you a little bit later. Possibly even tomorrow. So stay tuned, keep checking back. But for now, we wanted to get this info to you right away. Hey, Miguel, look, I think Oleksandr Usyk is in the pound for pound discussion. We talked about this Inoue and Crawford a while back, and I think rightfully played that out. And I think those guys are tied, or Crawford could be first. I don't have any argument with that, truthfully. I think Usyk is right up there. He hasn't been active over the past couple of years as much as these guys have, and we need that Tyson Fury fight, and that sure would catapult him. But a nice win over Daniel Dubois. It probably solidifies the top 3 for me. That's where I'm at. I've got some picks we'll come back to, but I want to get your sort of input on that situation with Oleksandr Usyk as far as moving up in weight to go to heavyweight. Wow, I'm not saying he beat Tyson Fury, but pound for pound, wow, Miguel.
Yeah, he's up from cruiserweight and done a great job with that. Evander Holyfield is the last big achiever that did that kind of thing, and he's on path to have a comparable career. To me, Evander's a great one.
Absolutely.
So he does need the Tyson Fury fight. I think that if you're a fan of heavyweight boxing, it's a good time right now with that fight coming. Hopefully, but it could go either way. You could put Tyson Fury in that discussion in the top 3 too. It just depends on which guy, which camp you favor there. But Tyson Fury could mount a pretty decent case for number 3 on that list as well.
He can. I think what holds him back is the original sort of understanding of the original intent, at least. He doesn't exclude heavyweights, but tries to level that playing field with the lighter weights. So I think it's harder for a lot of people to accept Tyson there. Now, I've said this for a long time. What you and I think, and what a lot of people on Twitter and every place else, that's not really the issue. And when they try and discount the Ring or ESPN or Sports Illustrated or CBS, again, this is our Rotten Tomatoes theory. It's foolish to not look at those pros, because those are the same pros that often vote for the mandatories when you talk about the Ring belts and some of the other belts. And they're the guys that make the Hall of Fame votes as well. So these guys do matter. They matter to fame, money, and women and everything else. I've said it before. So it's foolish to not look at those top pound for pound lists. That said, I don't know that a lot of people accept a guy who really is the biggest boxer in the game as a pound for pound great. Although, I mean, look, has Tyson got the skills of Oleksandr Usyk? I think Usyk is more skilled, Miguel. I think Tyson
I think it depends.
Can wear him down and beat him.
Yeah, I think it depends on what part of the game you analyze, because what I think people have a short memory is that Tyson Fury at one point, there's a meme of him coming up from his youth where he threw an uppercut and punched himself in the face.
Yeah, I remember that.
Doing things like this. And then, his first time in the United States, I think he fought Daryl Cunningham. I may be wrong on that. But he fought in the Garden, and his act felt like a lead balloon. He got dropped, He got
Yeah.
up and won, but he got dropped and his act failed.
Yeah, I remember. It did not go over well. He wasn't an instant star by any means.
Somewhere along the line, you have to remember that he went into his first Klitschko fight a big underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And he went into that. By then, he already knew he was going to win. By then, he had already gotten that confidence, and his dismantling of Klitschko, who had a 10-year winning streak kind of thing. I mean, because he dismantled him. He put on a boxing clinic against a stiff, similar to like the one that Usyk did with Joshua.
Yep.
But
Yep.
and Klitschko had better moments, later against Joshua, but he had nothing for Tyson Fury. So you could argue since then Tyson's done enough in terms of skill and resume and stuff. Maybe he hasn't been active enough, but every defeat he's had has been outside the ring, not in. In the ring, he seems to understand that business pretty damn good at this point. So I think him and Usyk, I think then you could start talking, the winner of that fight, you could definitely start talking about a threesome at the top of this pound for pound list with Inoue and Crawford. With the other scalp there, that should be enough to propel and seal up that top 3 spot. But I think you got to do it. You got to do Usyk versus Fury. I like Usyk because, when we first got a glimpse of Lomachenko, there were moments where Lomachenko wowed the world with his footwork and his motion and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Usyk is just as precise. He's obviously slower because he's not, but he's just as precise and really, really well grounded in those basics. And to watch a big man execute that over 12 rounds the way he has is quite remarkable.
It's a thing of beauty. And let me pick up right where you have set me up perfectly, because this is something I've been talking about this week. People mentioning guys that are 37 and based on speed and footwork fade. What? This is a heavyweight. He's already fighting guys that are inherently slow. The division is slow. He's not a lighter weight guy who's slowed down just a little and some young whippersnapper can take him out with faster speed. His impressive speed is still faster at 37 than any other heavyweight in the game. So don't get it twisted that 37 and speed always doesn't mean anything. These are heavyweights we're talking about. He's faster than most of these heavyweights. It's not a problem there. And that applies not to just what we're talking about with him versus Tyson Fury, which is a great matchup. But this week versus Daniel Dubois. I think if you're going to build a parlay, there's some value in looking at Usyk by knockout and Jared Big Baby Anderson by knockout. Minus 230 for Usyk, minus 480 for Jared Anderson. I also like about round 8 knockout for Usyk. So just looking down at some of the prop bets, check out my prop bets on Sharps. Sign up for free, Piatt 186. I'll be making a lot of these prop bets available there and more. But I like Usyk in round 8. That's a plus 1,000. 7-9 is 280. Usyk to win in round 7 through 12 is 190, plus 190. 7 and 8 is plus 390. You see where I'm going with it. Oleksandr Usyk to win in rounds 5 through 8 is plus 150. So I'm going to place all of those. We'll get those on the screen for you guys. That's a nice overlap there. If you look at what's going on, I'm betting on 8, 5 through 8, 7 through 9, 7 through 12. So if it happens early, it happens in the 6th round or the 7th round. We've got that 5 through 8. We've got that 7 through 9. We've got that 7 through 12. And then, so it's a nice way that if it really happens in 8, you're going to hit all those bets. It happens a little early, you hit 2 or 3. It happens late, you hit 2 or 3. So something to think about there. Some interesting other prop bets that we'll share on Sharps. Follow along for that. And then, hey, let's skip right ahead to what I think is the bet of the week. If you look at this fight between F.A. Ajagba and Zhan Kossobutskiy. Ajagba, of course, had all those first-round knockouts in a row, Miguel. But I jokingly call F.A. Ajagba Deontay Milder. He's winning with the big punch. He's not a great boxer. So I think Zhan really can do a number on FA and maybe knock him out for the first time. FA has one loss on his record. So I really like, if you look at the method of victory on this, you look at FA by points or decision, plus 500, plus 300. But then you switch over to Zhan, points or decision, plus 260, knockout, plus 155. I really like that knockout, and you're getting plus money on what I think is the favorite. Plus 155 on that knockout just seems really good to me. I do think that's how it's going to... It could go the distance, sure. But plus 155 on the knockout, that's where I'm going to say is probably going to be the bet of the week on that one. I really, really like that one. I like Usyk in round 8. I like Zhan. And so there's a couple of the bets. We'll come up with a bit more of a parlay as we move forward and try and look at an 8-leg. If we don't come up with an 8-leg, again, I like Jared Big Baby Anderson and Usyk by knockout to do some parlay building. Go from there and throw one of your favorites in or whatever the case may be. So that's kind of where I'm looking at. Miguel, we didn't talk about this off air ahead of time, so I'm putting you on the spot. Is there any MMA we should be looking at this week? What do we got?
Yeah, on the UFC, they are do Fight Night 225 in Singapore, and they're headlining with Max Holloway against the Korean Zombie Jung.
That's right. Someone asked about that. Said Holloway's the strong favorite, right? Korean Zombie was like a plus 560, if I remember right. I don't know if you got the odds in front of you, but 560 is what I remember for Korean Zombie. I'm interested in that fight, and I'd love to hear your analysis. To me, plus 560 for Zombie is an awful intriguing little juice there. I know he's had his issues, but Max Holloway has had a lot of miles on them tires. Is Max going to be, I don't know. I don't know that there's not some value in Zombie, and this will help me answer a fan who was talking to me, and I told him I would ask you about it. So I'm glad we got here. What do you think? Is Max still got it in him? Has Zombie got the surprise upset? Is plus 560 too good to pass up?
I'm always cautious with Holloway because ever since, I think he had stepped up to fight Khabib at some point in his career, and then had the fight canceled because he was having trouble, neurological problems in the back, having trouble making weight and things like that. Something happened like that, and ever since then, I always have an asterisk again, and ever since then, he's been making me look bad because he really has, a good ability. He didn't get through Volkanovski, but that's kind of a torch passing, and he's still proven himself to be a top-notch boxer and an all-time great. Korean Zombie is, I think, 4-4 in his last 8 fights. So and you're putting me on the spot here with my memory, but I believe Korean Zombie at some point earlier in his career suffered a catastrophic injury, and since then he's 4-4. So you got to take, but he can hang with Max Holloway level people for a while. He can make it look good, and he's not somebody who you can count out completely here. He is a guy that's been at this a long time. Maybe he doesn't have the miles. He got into round 4 with Volkanovski in his last fight, took a loss. Before that, lost to Dan Ige. Beat Dan Ige, and then lost to Ortega. Ortega, another guy on the, championship level picture. Then beat Frankie Edgar. So he's been fighting top guys. His loss before that to Yair Rodriguez. And he's up and down. Could he be on the, it's a time for a win for him if he's going to alternate wins? I don't know if you're going to leave your betting up to that kind of chance, but, it does look that way on the record. He alternates wins, and it might be time. It's interesting.
And you don't want to count a guy like Holloway out ever. But it's a lot of miles, and he's had some inconsistencies. It's just an interesting fight. And at plus 560, it made me think maybe it's a little more even than that. Cameron Poe, by the way, Lil Poe on Twitter was the one who asked that. I do remember that. Went to high school with Cameron Poe's dad. What up, Shane? And Taylor Titans. But Lil Poe, he meets us. We've got a group of us, 12 or 15 of us that go to the AMC theater to watch live boxing a lot. And he's been there once or twice with us. So shout out to those guys for doing that. Anybody's interested, let me know. We'll definitely put you in the group called Watching Boxing. We're in Indiana. If any of you are early ever close, we really do go see all the ones that they show at the AMC and have a great time with it. So I've got no stock in AMC, disclaimer. We just have a hell of a time, you know what I mean? So, but well, hey Miguel, I'll try and look for an 8-leg. We did want to make sure we tell people that we'll try and look for an 8-leg parlay, and maybe able to put something together and announce it. This is Wednesday as we speak, but Thursday or Friday if we can come up with something for these Saturday fights. So I'm not sure as of now. They did pop a few more up as we were heading to air, as seems to happen. So it's always interesting trying to get this to you as quick as we can. We're literally, these are coming as quick as they can. Some of these fights just popped up, so we'll get them to you right away.
And yeah, we'll be back later this week, but we're back and cooking, and it's good to be back, ASP.
You got it, my man. Good to see you.